Okay, I'm Robert Boustany. I teach here in Houston, Texas. I've been teaching for 40 years. And I think that, first of all, it's really important to have the definition of a career. If you're going to license career schools, you should know what a career is. And a career should be, I would think, just in common sense terms, that a career is something that you can make a living doing. And most of the people that come through, if you're doing a 200 or 500 hour training, it's just ludicrous to think that these people are gonna learn yoga in 200 or 500 hours. It's just simply not going to happen. And that just comes from 40 years of watching people go through these kinds of programs. You know, you'll get a small percentage of the people that really have some understanding by the end of a year-long program. But if you do a weekend program or a 1 month program, no possible way. Impossible. And it doesn't make any difference what certificate you have. Whether you have a black belt or you have a certificate. It doesn't mean anything. As soon as you walk in that room, you're not going to command attention unless you know something. So most of these people are going off and trying to help family and friends and whatever else, and that's all that's going on. It's what government's not going to do, is take care of, you know, the little forgotten people out there. That's all it is. So that's my opinion.
We decided, you know what, we've got some great teachers here, let's just make our own conference. We'll call it Texas Yoga Conference. So that was decided last March, and so there are 4 studios that got together to organize that. And
Robert Boustany, thank you so much for being here. So we're just really excited that they took time out of their busy schedules to drive all the way to Houston just to speak with those who came from the community, so that we can try to resolve some of these things, work together, be an open forum of communication. So I'm going to go ahead and just pass it over to Laura. Thank you, Laura.
You're very welcome. Good morning, everyone. Thank you. Thank you for having us and continuing the discussion. After we met with Jenny and Willie and others a couple of weeks ago, and started having, or continue to have a dialogue, and really that's what the message I guess I want to get across to everyone is. Jenny said all of a sudden yoga is under the scrutiny of the Texas Workforce Commission, and I know that's how it obviously feels to you. That's not how it feels to us. That wasn't there isn't a targeted plan, and we didn't sit down and decide, okay, yoga schools, yoga studios, we need to target and ensure that they are being regulated appropriately. As I was putting together my comments, and I shared them with my staff, the title I have is State Operated Services for the Workforce Division of the Workforce Commission. State Operated Services being things that the Workforce Commission actually manages and regulates, and you don't need to know the whole structure, and you don't want to know the whole structure of the agency. But there are some functions that we actually, one of which is career schools and the regulation of career schools. And so that's why I am here speaking. So as I started putting
y'all have standards
together,
I mean, if you have a licensed school, to me there are set standards for a school. So do you have set standards for these yoga schools, or are you just wanting to license them?
A committee even,
Yeah,
who's determined whether or not there's set standards. From my understanding, standards for
the curriculum,
Whether it's a legitimate curriculum, or whether it's a fly-by-night curriculum, or, you know, I mean, how do you determine who is, you know?
Do you really want the United States government to decide?
No, I'm asking, I know, heck no. Because there's so many different styles and varieties and flavors of yoga.
it would never happen.
we're not.
So how do you
we can't be
license something, though, without having standards? I mean, how do you get involved and say, you're a career school, but we have no standards for what your career school is going to be. We just want to
vocational, or maybe I send you one and here's our program. This is our course of training, which is part of what I had to send you. Now, how are you looking at that and saying, oh, this is an appropriate instruction of yoga versus one this is not? Where is that coming from?
For the most part, and it's not just yoga. I mean, the staff that works for me are not doctors, are not chefs, I mean, we have all kinds of schools that are in topics that I don't have experts in. So we do, it would be the same type of thing.
But you
One-
say
one-
that
So we are going to look at the curriculum on the face to determine, is there an established, one very basic step is there an established curriculum? Is there something that has been laid out to show how an individual coming in, what it is going to require and what they are paying for on the front end to get them to the result on the back end? So we look at it on the face value. We will also look at, and in many areas, we will reach out to experts in whatever the area of
Follow-up question,
instruction
if you're looking to
is
the experts,
for that expert.
for instance, yoga programs, and if they're complying with what yoga standards, are the experts you're looking, let's be blunt, is it like Yoga Alliance? I mean, their standards? I mean, how are you all judging the standards?
And to be honest with you, I can't answer exactly how a lot of it's going to be, does the face of it, is the program laid out? Are the instructors meeting the requirements?
What are the requirements?
Good question.
What are the requirements?
And there are on the applications, there are requirements that are laid out. We've got to ensure, do instructors?
Do you have an application with you
And I'm sorry, I don't. But I can give you it's on our website and we can get that to you. But we look to see who are the instructors. What are the qualifications that you've established for your instructors, and do your instructors meet those qualifications? Do any of the instructors have criminal backgrounds that would
All of us that have teacher
need,
training
that would be
programs,
a reason that?
very few of the participants that go through those training programs actually make a full-time living out of it. Most of those people that go through, it's either to just deepen their own practice, learn more about yoga, or maybe just teach a class here and there at night or on the weekends. And I think it's also kind of funny.
Your passion is under attack. Folks are not career schools. You're not colleges. And because you happen to teach somebody something that is an application that a minuscule number of you will make a living at, does not create a career school situation. So that's going to be our goal. That's phase one, is to try to get them to change their mind. Phase two is if they don't change their mind with our request, is ours to get the elected officials involved, to get you and your grassroots efforts to get involved, and get public officials to ask them to change their mind. And if we're unsuccessful there, then we'll have to go to the legislative session next January and change their law. So that
Red flags that are popping up all over the place that indicate that we are a career school, or some indication that we are acting as a college or university or some vocational school. Clearly, it's rare that a yoga teacher can make enough money to support even a family. I would say that we are more of an avocation than a vocation, because most of us have things on the side that we have to do as a career in order to make ends meet. Yoga teaching are yoga, or being yoga. You aren't just simply practicing yoga with a piece of paper and a license that says, I'm qualified. I think we're headed down a slippery slope, and if we don't nip this in the bud right now, from being a career school, many of them have said they've already pocketed out $10,000. We're talking about small yoga studios. Pumping out $10,000 out of our cash reserves can break us, and I don't see how that's in the benefit of the students.